Hi everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going on an incredible journey back in time to meet one of the most amazing people in the Bible, Abraham. Our story starts in a faraway land called Ur, which is in modern-day Iraq. That's where a man named Abram lived with his wife Sarai and his dad, Terah. They were just living their lives, like you and me. But one day, something super special happened. God spoke directly to Abram. Can you imagine? God told Abram two very important things, a command and a promise. The command was, leave your country, your people, and your father's house, go to a land I will show you. Wow, that's a big ask, right? Leaving everything you know behind? But then came the promise, and it was even bigger. God promised Abram, I will make you a great nation, meaning lots and lots of family. I will bless you and I will make your name famous. You will be a blessing to others. I will bless those who are good to you, and I will curse those who are mean to you. Through you, all people on earth will be blessed. Even though Abram was 75 years old, that's pretty old, he believed God with all his heart. So, he packed up with Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all their stuff, and off they went to a land called Canaan. When they got there, God appeared to Abram again and said, This land is for your family. Abram was so thankful, he built an altar to God. Uh-oh! A big problem hit Canaan, a famine. That means no food. So, Abram and his family had to go to Egypt to find something to eat. Now, Sarai was super beautiful, and Abram was worried the Egyptians might hurt him to take her. So he asked Sarai to say she was his sister. She was his half-sister, but still a bit of a trick. The king of Egypt, Pharaoh, took Sarai, and Abram was treated really well. But God wasn't happy about the trick and caused problems for Pharaoh. When Pharaoh found out the truth, he was mad and sent Abram, Sarai, and all their riches out of Egypt. Abram was now super rich, but with so many animals, there wasn't enough land for both Abram and Lot. Their animal keepers started arguing. To keep the peace, Abram, being so kind, told Lot to choose any land he wanted. Lot chose the super green and watery Jordan Valley, near a city called Sodom. Abram stayed in Canaan. After Lot left, God talked to Abram again, making his promise even bigger. He told Abram to look all around, north, south, east, and west. All the land you see, God said, I will give to you and your family forever, and your family will be as many as the dust on the ground, so many that no one could count them. Wow! Abram moved his tents and kept building altars to God. One day, war broke out, and guess what? Lot and his family were captured. When Abram heard, he quickly gathered 318 of his trained men and bravely rescued Lot, his family, and all their stuff. Go, Abram! On his way back, Abram met a very special king named Melchizedek, who was also a priest of God. Melchizedek brought bread and wine and blessed Abram. Abram, in return, gave Melchizedek a tenth of everything he had. That's 10%. Years passed and Abram still didn't have any children. He was worried, but God appeared to him in a vision and said, Don't be afraid, Abram. I will protect you and I will give you a great reward. Abram told God he was sad he had no child. But God said, You will have a son of your own. Then God took him outside and said, Look up at the sky and try to count the stars. If you can, that's how many descendants you will have. The Bible tells us Abram believed the Lord, and God considered that belief as being righteous. This is super important because it teaches us that trusting God makes us right with Him. God then made a special covenant, like a super-duper promise, with Abram. He even showed his promise in a special way. A smoking pot and a flaming torch passed between cut animals. This showed how serious God's promise was. More years went by, and Sarai still couldn't have children. So she suggested Abram have a child with her servant, Hagar. Hagar got pregnant and had a son named Ishmael. When Abram was 99 years old, God appeared to him again. God changed Abram's name to Abraham, which means father of many nations. And Sarai's name was changed to Sarah, which means princess. God also promised them again that Sarah, even though she was 90 years old, would have a son, and they were to name him Isaac, which means he laughs. Abraham actually laughed in disbelief. He thought, no way, but God said, yes, Sarah will have a son, Isaac. That very day, Abraham obeyed God, and he, Ishmael, and all the men in his household were circumcised as a sign of God's forever promise. One hot day, Abraham saw 3 men standing by his tent. He was super welcoming and invited them to rest and eat. He didn't know it, but these were special visitors from God, and one was the Lord himself. During their meal, the Lord said, "About this time next year, Sarah, your wife, will have a son." Sarah, listening inside the tent, laughed to herself, thinking, "I'm too old." But the Lord asked Abraham, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" The Lord then told Abraham that he was going to destroy the super wicked cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham, caring so much, bravely asked God to spare the city if good people could be found there, even down to just 10. Sadly, not even 10 good people were found. Only 2 angels went to Sodom, and Lot and his family had to run away, but Lot's wife looked back and turned into a pillar of salt. But then, the best part. Just as God promised, Isaac was born. Abraham was 100 years old. Sarah joyfully said, "God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." When Isaac was a bit older, Sarah saw Ishmael making fun of Isaac. She asked Abraham to send Hagar and Ishmael away. Abraham was sad, but God told him to listen to Sarah, saying that his true promises would come through Isaac, but he would also bless Ishmael. So Abraham sent them away, but God took care of Hagar and Ishmael in the desert. Now get ready for the hardest and most important test of Abraham's faith. God called out to Abraham and said, "Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you." Early the next morning, Abraham, without any questions, went with Isaac. Isaac asked, "We have the fire and wood, but where is the lamb?" Abraham, with amazing faith, replied, "God himself will provide the lamb, my son." When they reached the place, Abraham built an altar, tied up Isaac, and got ready to sacrifice him. But just then, an angel of the Lord called out from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham, don't hurt the boy. Now I know that you truly respect God, because you did not keep your son, your only son, from me." Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught in a bush. He sacrificed the ram instead of Isaac. Abraham named that place, "The Lord will provide." The angel of the Lord called to Abraham again, making God's promises even bigger because Abraham had completely obeyed. God promised to bless him greatly, make his descendants as many as the stars and sand, and that through his family, all nations on earth will be blessed. Sarah lived to be 127 and died in Hebron. Abraham bought a special cave to bury her. When Abraham was very old, he sent his trusted servant to find a wife for Isaac from his own relatives. The servant found Rebekah, and she was the perfect choice. Isaac loved Rebekah very much. Abraham took another wife, Keturah, and had more children, but he gave everything to Isaac. Abraham died at a very old age, having lived a full life. Isaac and Ishmael buried him next to Sarah. And guess what? After Abraham's death, God continued to bless Isaac, making sure all those amazing promises kept going. Wow! What an incredible story of faith, promises, and God's amazing plan. Abraham showed us what it means to trust God, no matter what.